Hi guys, this is my third time starting this video because I am out of practice. But anyhow, welcome. Welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel, welcome to this video. This is sort of a book haul slash recent reads video, and I'm very happy to discuss some of the books that I have picked up in the last month and a half and the books that I have read. I have, I think, about 14 books that I'm going to show you and talk to you about. And we're going to start with my current read. It is by Junji Ito, and it is called Tomi. It is a manga, and it's a very thick. I mean, it's the deluxe edition or whatever. It's like a whole bunch of stories in one, and I'm about 50% of the way through it. And Tomi is about a girl who basically can't die. And anytime she's killed, it seems, she multiplies. So like, just imagine that. Basically, she kind of seduces men into like falling in love with her, and you know, she doesn't really like them, and then she drives them mad, and then she drives them so mad that they want to kill her, and oftentimes they succeed, and then every time they kill her, she like basically multiplies. And so she just kind of keeps coming back to life, and she is it's a little freaky. It's a little freaky. The way the story is being told, it's like, I don't know if I want to call it mosaic, but it's kind of like that, like bits and pieces and things are like falling together. And I think it's the perfect way to tell a story because there's multiples of her. So it's like she's literally in multiple places at once, and the stories are kind of like connected but like kind of not. So it's very interesting. But I will say that so far I really have been enjoying, or I enjoy like Uzumaki better, which is the first Junji Ito I read. But like it's still really good. So that's Tomi by Junji Ito, my current read. All right, now this next book, I believe it is not getting enough hype. At least more people should be talking about it because, you know, everybody talked about Babel, but nobody's talking about Yellowface, it seems. Like, I think that's so unfair. Yellowface is really good, which, by the way, the most disappointing thing about this book is that the cover is not the yellow that it seems to be in all of like the mock-ups. This is more of a mustard yellow. It's not terribly disgusting, but it's almost to terribly disgusting. So, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which I'm sure, because it's an R.F. Kuang novel, you have heard about it. But let me do a little rundown because this book is good. It is very good. In fact, you know, I honestly think maybe this is probably an unpopular opinion, but you know, I like the fact that I feel this way about her because this means I'll probably keep reading her work, but I probably will never read The Poppy War. But I think R.F. Kuang is like, okay, she's an okay like writer slash storyteller, but like I don't mean that in a bad way, you know what I mean? Just like for me, like Babel, Yellow, like they're just like okay, but like that's good because, for example, if I really like someone's work, I probably won't read anything else that they put out just because I'm scared it will disappoint me. But like, she's so perfectly okay that like I can't wait to read what she puts out next. So being okay is like definitely good in my book. And I think Yellowface, did I already say this? Better than Babel. But like not like so much more better, but like the length already improved it because it was like super concise. And like I think the topic was really interesting. But Yellowface is about a woman And race is important in this story. A white woman who basically, her Asian friend dies, and that's not a spoiler, but she dies, and then she kind of like steals the friend's manuscript and edits it and like gets it published, and it starts some sort of a mess for her, and she goes through a lot, and a lot of that comes from guilt. I know you've probably heard it's about this crazy white woman who does crazy things, which sure is true, that's like the plot, but I think at the end of the day, the book is really an exploration of guilt and how far people will go to also hide the truth. And our main character, Juniper, she does go far to hide the truth, and she does go through a lot because she is very guilty of a lot of things, like stealing her friend's manuscript, and then editing it, improving it, you know, whatever, and then getting it published. And basically the book is told from her perspective in her mind, and we just go through everything she goes through. And it's a lot, and it's very, 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 very interesting. This book was just like, for me, it was not like shocking in any way. It was just like, yep, people are born evil, and this is just a human being being a human being, and a human being she was being. She was, Juniper, our main character, she was very, I don't know, interesting. But besides the, I don't know, crazy stuff that Juniper was doing in the novel, I think R.F. Kuang, like, had a lot to say, which I really, really enjoyed. A lot about the publishing industry. Like, one of my favorite lines from the book is that bestsellers are chosen, right? And like, that's really interesting, and I think that's very true, because advertising and marketing is very, or marketing and advertising are very powerful tools, and if the publishing industry is like, this is going to be the book that sells, you know, they're going to give all of their energy to that, and it's like they're going to make everybody buy it because that's what people do. And then another interesting thing, I'm going to read it from the book. I like what R.F. Kuang is asking here, because again, this book is also like about race, and so our main character, June, she's white, and she stole the manuscript of an Asian woman, and so that's also a thing, because, you know, she's white, and people start to suspect, because the book that she publishes is about Chinese, like the, I don't know, something about a war and the Chinese people involved in the war, and so rumors start to spread, and they're like, there's no way she could have written this. But other people are like, well, of course a white woman wrote this, because an Asian woman would never have like said all of these things. And like, people are like kind of, you know, starting this the discussion of, you know, is a white woman allowed to publish this story about Asian people? I think Chinese people, to be specific. And so in this kind of scene, I think she's at like a book signing, and someone asks her a question. This is the question. I'm Chinese American, and when I read The Last Front, I thought, I found a lot of deeply painful histories, and I wanted to ask you, why do you think it's okay for a white author, an author who isn't Chinese, to write and profit from this kind of story? Why do you think you're the right person to tell it? And then our main character goes on to say, I think it's very dangerous to start censoring what authors should and shouldn't write. I'd hate to live in a world where we tell people what they should and shouldn't write based on the color of their skin. Turn what you're saying around and see how it sounds. Can a black writer not write a novel with a white protagonist? What about everyone who has written about World War II and never lived through it? You can critique a work on the grounds of literary quality and its representations of history, sure, but I see no reason why I shouldn't tackle this subject if I'm willing to do the work. And as you can tell by the text, I did do the work. You can look up my bibliographies. You can do the fact-checking yourself. Meanwhile, I think writing is fundamentally an exercise in empathy. Reading lets us live in someone else's shoes. Literature builds bridges. It makes our world larger, not smaller. And as for the question of profit, I mean, should every writer who writes about dark things feel guilty about it? Should creatives not be paid for their work? So I think R.F. Kuang poses a really interesting question there. Okay, the next book is Ain't Burned All the Bright by Jason Reynolds, which it's not really a book. It's not quite a novel. It barely has any words in it. It's just pictures. And this is so heavy. It's nearly as heavy as this book. Like, these pages are thick pages. So Jason Reynolds and Jason Griffin, and this is like a book that kind of, well, it's like poetry, I guess, and it like takes place during the pandemic, I think, is one of the main things. And actually, I saw this book on Capri's channel, Capri Nicole. I don't know exactly what her channel is called, but I'll link it in the description. And as soon as like she showed it, I was like, this looks like something, because again, I wasn't really in the mood to read a lot of words. So I was like, there's mostly pictures. I don't know if you can see, but like, it's really just all pictures and barely any words. And I read it in one sitting and it was really, really good. And so my favorite part, of course, is like the beginning. And this is sort of, I forget what it's called, but it's like, it repeats. So I don't know if I don't really think it's a motif, but it's sort of like a chorus and a song. But it opens with, and I'm sitting here wondering why my mother won't change the channel, and why the news won't change the story, and why the story won't change into something new, instead of the every hour rerun about how we won't change the world, or the way we treat the world, or the way we treat each other. And I really, really enjoy that. And it just comes back, and it's just like, it's how I feel, you know. I'm sitting here wondering why my mother won't change the channel, and why the news won't change the story, and why the story won't change into something new. You know, like, you know, same shit, different day type. And it's just like, can we move on? Can we, or will something change so we can move on? And it's kind of like, it never does. It's like, it's the same stuff always. And it's really good. It's really good. It's really good. Do recommend. All right. The next book, the next recent read, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I made a whole video on this, so I don't really have to go into much detail, but as a prequel for The Hunger Games, I think it was terrible. As a book, it was meh. But as a prequel to the Hunger Games series, it's terrible. Disappointing. Okay, I'm so happy I get to talk about this book. Adelaide. Oh my god. Okay, so this book right here. This book. I don't even know, like, I was struggling to find something to read, and then I saw this selection in Book of the Month, and I was like, I know I'm going to like it. And like it, I did. So like, they kind of like advertise it as like a toxic relationship. And I guess, yes, but like, I feel like it's much, much more than that. I feel like it's less about the relationship and more about our main character, Adelaide. So I don't know. It's way deeper than that. And yeah, it's a love story. Not quite a romance, but a love story. And it's about how in this relationship, Adelaide, she loves him, and he doesn't quite love her as much as she loves him, and it breaks her heart, basically. And she's already going through a lot, and he kind of just makes everything just a little bit worse. And she's just sort of like figuring herself out and stuff like that. Her life, her career, and just deciding like what she's gonna do about this relationship. Yeah. It's really good. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed the story. I really did. It's so good. Okay, the next books. How do I lead up to these? Okay, so last year I read the first book in the series via audio, and it was basically 5 stars for me because I was fully entertained. It was so entertaining. And this year, I finally got around to the rest. When I tell you this series is really good, and by good I mean really entertaining. It is. And that series is After. So I read After We Collided, audio, After We Fell, audio, and After Ever Happy via audio, and I enjoyed every single second of those audiobooks. Now, I also started these while I was on a social media break, so when I tell you I might have spent 5 hours a day listening to what's her name? Tessa and Hardin going back and forth. I did, and I enjoyed it. And I feel bad if you can't enjoy a story like this, because this is a series that obviously you don't take too seriously. I was laughing most of the time. After, it's like a comedy for me. So it was just a good time. It was a good time. And then I rewatched the movies too, and I'm like, I can't wait for the last one to come out in theaters, and I will be there. I missed it last year, but this year I think I'm going to be in theaters, and I'm going to see if Tessa will spoiler alert, Tessa and Hardin get back together, but I'm excited to see them get back together in the movies and see their wedding and whatnot. So yes. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, now we're gonna get to books that I have not read. It's the haul portion of this video. Actually, 3 of these books I have read, but I bought them, so it counts as a haul. But we're gonna start with this e-arc I received. It's my first arc ever, so that's exciting. It's called Outlaw Mage by K.S. Villoso. And it's a fantasy book that sounds really interesting. So basically, I think there's a young woman. Okay, hold on, here it is. It is a fantasy novel with a heavy gothic murder mystery and dark academia atmosphere. The first book in a series about a young woman trying to find her place in the same empire that colonized her people. Yeah, and it sounds really good, but I don't know when I'm gonna get to it. But thank you, Liam's Vigil Publishing Co., for that arc. And it comes out, by the way, August 1st of this year. So, yeah. Oh, well, it also says from our title with Snowy Wings Publishing. So I guess I should thank them too. Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have The Pursuit of Happiness. I bought this book and I'm really excited to read it whenever I do. I don't think I have to say much about it because there's a movie. It's a popular movie. I mean, if you haven't heard the story of Chris Gardner, then I encourage you to either pick up the memoir or watch the movie or do both. If you're cool, you're gonna do both, like me. Okay, next one, Finding Me by Viola Davis. So I've already read this book, but I had the hardcover, and I prefer paperback, so I got the paperback. Yay me. Okay, this one just came in the mail. I've been like obsessing over this, and now that I have it, I don't even know what to do with it because I don't know where I put it on my shelves. And as you can see, my shelves are a little, I'm trying to figure something out. But a little life. And see, it's, I feel a little awkward because it's legitimately the same edition. So like, I don't think I want them in the same vicinity because it just looks so repetitive. And so now that I have it, I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. But I wanted it so bad. I've been waiting to get it. And I just couldn't wait anymore. Now it's here. It's just like, it's going to be sitting in a corner until I figure out where to put it. But I guess that's life. And then my favorite book of 2022 came out in paperback. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hidden Pictures. So, Hidden Pictures is a really awesome book, and if you haven't read it, you should. And I think this is like the book that got me into horror. Which did I read first? Because it all happened in the same. I read like that retelling of Carrie by what's her name? Tiffany Jackson. And Hidden Pictures and Uzumaki, like that was the same era, but I'm pretty sure Hidden Pictures. And you know what? Babel, I think, was also in that. Babel came, when did I read Babel? Babel was either before or after that era. I think it was after, but I'm trying to think, which came first, Hidden Pictures or Uzumaki? Maybe I was reading them at the same time. I don't know, but Hidden Pictures is about this babysitter who, well, she's a nanny, really, and she comes to nanny for this family, and of course the family has its secrets, and the secret has to do with their kid, and it's a whole backstory that gets revealed at the end, and it's really, really exciting. It's just so good. Like, it's a really good story, like beginning to end. The pacing is really good. It's kind of creepy. It's really awesome. So I recommend 1,000 times. And the last book that I hauled is, ooh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Hold on. Let me go to the Google Translate because Yo. That would make sense. Okay, what does that even mean? Okay. Gyo. The last in this little series, this little, I don't know, deluxe edition thing. And so I also got this. I was actually gonna get the new short story one called Tombs, but I read like the first two and I was just like, this isn't working for me, so I exchanged it. I got this one, and let's see what it's about. I think this one's gonna be scarier because it's about smells. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this is, well, we're gonna see. But The floating smell of death hangs over the island. What is it? A strange legged fish appears on the scene. So begins Tadashi and Kaori's spiral into the horror and stench of the sea. Here is the creepiest masterpiece of horror manga ever, from the creator of Uzumaki, Junji Ito. Hold your breath until all is revealed. I don't believe it. I just flipped through it. It's not gonna be as creepy as Uzumaki. Okay, so that's that video. I hope you enjoyed this little haul. Oh god, I hope it was good. If it wasn't, let me know in the comments. If it was, also let me know in the comments. And let me know what books you're reading right now, or books you have recently read, or books you have recently hauled that you're very excited to read. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Until then, goodbye. Perfect timing.